Hey, it's my little dog, Mr. Fiddles.
Aw, Fiddles. Does he enjoy music?
No, he ate my banjo.
Hey guys, it's Matt here. Somewhere in the past few years, someone at 2K Games woke up one morning and was like, you know what I really want? An arcade racer with mechanics like The Crew 2, but with driving and power-ups like Mario Kart or Crash Tag Team Racing. Also, it needs to be semi-open world with varied biomes, full car customization and a fun aesthetic. Also, I want it to be a LEGO game with the addictive gameplay of the Traveler's Tales games, the light-hearted and funny writing and amazing visual style of the LEGO movie, and in its core it needs to feel like a spiritual successor to the 1999 and 2001 LEGO Racers games. Wait, that game doesn't exist yet? Well, I guess we got some work to do. And so completely out of nowhere, a few months ago LEGO 2K Drive was announced, and since last weekend everyone's able to play it. And despite it being a runner-up contender for this year's dumbest video game name, 2K actually managed to release a pretty decent little arcade racer here that has some absolutely great aspects and also some unacceptably bad ones. So without any further delay, here's some gameplay and my first impressions of LEGO 2K Drive.
That's Clutch Racington, ex-big shot driver, now charismatic winner who trains rookie racers, which is lucky for you and convenient for the story.
LEGO 2K Drive is a dumb name. I just wanted to clarify that again. It's as if Nintendo would release a new game called Mario Nintendo Jump, or EA would finally release the highly anticipated Battlefield Electronic Arts Shoot. Apart from that, LEGO 2K Drive is a very straightforward arcade racer. The story is not much more than you are the new guy, here is the old veteran mentor that's going to help you become the champion, and of course you need to defeat the bad guy. Yes, you have heard that one before. Luckily, the writers took a good hard look at everything that worked really well for LEGO games and movies in the past 2 decades and realized that as long as the game was lighthearted enough that children would love it, yet funny enough that adults would love it too, they'd be off to a great start. I have to be honest and say that they really nailed this aspect, and I found myself breathing out of my nose slightly harder than normal at least a few dozen times throughout the 10ish hours I've had with the game. It's all just good fun and highlights yet again that LEGO is such a versatile franchise that appeals to both children and adults equally.
Parker, this must bring back memories of your own racing career.
That was a long time ago. I left racing when they asked me to do something I just wasn't comfortable with.
What was that?
They were going to require me to wear a helmet. I would have had to detach my hair and replace it with a helmet. That was on the first day of racing school. I just walked out.
As far as the visuals go, they knocked it out of the park as well. The inspiration from the LEGO movie and more recent Traveler's Tales games is obvious here. Instead of trying to make the characters and vehicles move more realistic, like they did with those flexible arms and legs in most late 90s and early 2000 LEGO games, developers suddenly realized that they might as well make the LEGO games look like actual Legos. The clunky movement and stiff body parts as well as the glossy plastic finish on the models really sells these games, making it unmistakable that you're still just playing with toys, albeit in a digital form. And the idea that you're playing with small toys is exaggerated by the fact that you'll see household items throughout this game implemented into the world. A spiraling raceway alongside a garden hose, houseplants as big as buildings, and several other items and tools give a good indication of what sort of skill you're dealing with. Though if I'm honest, I personally would have loved to see it being implemented in an even more exaggerated way. Let's take It Takes Two as an example, where the sense of scale was sold really well, with complete skyboxes sometimes just being one room. Gameplay-wise, the game comes with a wide variety of events. Of course, there's a main story you can follow, which takes you through the several biomes, lets you defeat the other drivers, and eventually lets you participate in the championship. The races are exactly what you'd expect. Incredibly fast and chaotic fun. The cars handle very much like karts in Mario Kart, except they made the very counterintuitive choice to let you drift through corners by pressing the gas and the brakes at the same time. But apart from that, it actually handles quite smoothly. Throughout races you'll be able to pick up power-ups to gain an advantage over your opponents, and because of the open setting of this game, there are more than enough ways to cut corners and find secret passages. But above all, the biggest selling point of the game was the mid-race transformations of the vehicles. There are 3 types of terrains throughout this game: streets, off-road and water. All 3 represented by different vehicles respectively, which you automatically switch between while racing. One moment you could be driving on dirt roads, but a second later you're on water in a speedboat. It gives the races a lot of variety and makes courses more interesting, and the transition goes very smoothly in combination with that ever so satisfying Lego brick sound. Because the game is semi-open world, semi because the game is split up into several different biomes, there are more things to do than just racing. There are quests you can do to unlock new cars, stickers and Lego bricks, collectibles to collect, and time challenges to complete. You need to do all these to gain XP, which allows you to level up and become faster. Easy enough to understand so far, right? Unfortunately, the game's over-reliance on side activities actually makes it feel like you're constantly doing chores in between a minimal amount of racing. Sure, some timed events are fun, but pushing tumbleweeds into a ditch is not my definition of good gameplay, as well as that in order to get gold on some of these is unnecessarily difficult, especially for a children's game. Let alone that the racing itself is almost ruined by the fact that there is so much rubber banding going on. I'm pretty sure there's a worldwide crisis in every single post office right now, because 2K Games decided to steal all the means of binding the envelopes together. That is actually a problem which seems to be getting worse and worse each year in racing games, in which progression doesn't feel like progression, since opponents just randomly go a lot faster or a lot slower depending on where you are. Doesn't matter that you just leveled up 10 times, because here are all your opponents overtaking you with 5,000 kilometers an hour in the outside corner. Combine that with the fact that races can become so chaotic with all the different Lego particles flying through the screen like flies on a windshield that sometimes you'll have no clue what's going on and where you're going. Also be prepared for your frame rate to go out of the window at this point, though I'm willing to admit that my gear is just getting outdated and newer machines are probably easily able to process all of this madness. Luckily, there's more than enough time to calm down in what is essentially the best part of the game, the car creator. Just like in the earlier mentioned Lego Racers games, this game wouldn't have been complete if there wasn't some sort of build mode available, and it really doesn't disappoint. Of all the time I've spent with this game, around 70% was spent in just this build mode, simply because it is so detailed and so addicting. From complete monstrosities that defy the laws of physics to that one time you surprise yourself by making something half decent, this creator mode does exactly what Lego is essentially meant for. Disregarding all my responsibilities as an adult and lose myself in hour-long building sessions like I'm back in my childhood. Lego 2K Drive is in its core everything you'd want from a Lego game and everything you'd expect from a spiritual successor to Lego Racers. It has that undeniable charm that Lego is essentially known for, visually it looks great, all mechanics seems to work as intended, and that builder mode makes me want to skip 3 months worth of rent in order to buy me some new Lego sets in real life. Though the rubber banding can make races quite annoying and never really gives you the idea you're getting better or faster, the overall gameplay loop is enjoyable enough to race your way through at least the story mode. 2K was incredibly close to making an almost perfect little race game, until they realized that they're 2K Games. You see, if this was a fun little standalone racing game being sold for $30, that would have been perfect. But it's not. It's a full-priced live service game. That means that if you just buy the base game, which is just a bunch of races in 3 different biomes and a starting area, you already pay $60. But it's also a live service game, so if you want the season pass as well, that'll be another $40. That's only season 1 of course, but they've already made room for the upcoming 4 seasons in the menus, which you're gonna have to pay for again as soon as they release. But that's still not it, because if you want a bunch of cosmetic bullshit in your so-called Awesome Rivals edition, then congratulations, you just paid $120 for a glorified version of a 24-year-old game, you idiot. You still want to spend more money? Great, here's an entire in-game marketplace which is solely focused on you spending even more real money on digital versions of plastic toys. If you're a parent and you're letting your children play this game, you better hide all your credit cards, because if there's one thing that Lego 2K Drive manages to duplicate best from actual Legos, it's the goddamn price tag. Long story short, LEGO 2K Drive. Fun and capable little children's game. Lots of humor, beautiful art style, nice amount of variety in gameplay, pinnacle of everything that's wrong with the gaming industry, made by Satan's own offspring, and only brought to this earth to scam your children into spending your entire savings on a bunch of ones and zeros shaped into a hamburger-shaped LEGO car. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna play LEGO Racers and be miserable somewhere else. Thanks for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then consider liking it and subscribing to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!
Big hook.